What's up, everybody? Welcome to Void Jumpers. I've been here the whole time, ready to rock. I've been here early. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our limited run of Void Jumpers, Sand and Flame. I'm your diviner and host, Jesse Lee Keeter, and I'm very excited to be here with you tonight. Before we get started, I just want to give a shout out. The rule set we'll be using is an incredibly elegant game designed by Jeremy Strandberg. It's called Homebrew World. We're going to drop a link for you in the chat. Now, this is based on Dungeon World and powered by the Apocalypse, and it's very cool if you like story-forward tabletop games. That's it for the bullshit this week. Let's just bring in the cast.
Hey.
Whoa.
So, welcome back to Void Jumpers. We left off on a bit of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Paladin, I just saw that you sent me a message that says I owe you lore. I made a small note about it just in case you remembered. Also, everybody, sorry about the weirdness with the donations last week. We're trying a new system, so everyone who makes a donation should get a total shout out from yours truly, way cooler than a robot most of the time. And we should also have a better idea of what those donations give our players. Everyone, I've run out of stuff to talk about. Is there anything you want to say before I just kick us into Story World?
We're all experiencing some pretty wild storms, so hopefully everybody keeps their power.
And with that ominous note, welcome to Void Jumpers, Sand and Flame. Okay, last week, our heroes started their brand new job as royal guards for the heir apparent and summoner in training, Stellar. Their first task was to accompany their charge to the coronation ceremony. During the ceremony, things got a little out of hand. There were explosions in the distance, then much closer, followed by the arrival of a skeleton army and a powerful dark magic user with a skull-painted face. Our heroes put up a valiant fight, made sure nothing happened to their charge, but watched in the final moments of last week's session as Summoner Horus, Stellar's dad, was abducted by magical means. And as mentioned before our little intro bumper, Vico was able to latch on to just a whiff of that magic and get a little bit of information. Unfortunately, we will be picking up right where we left off. All of you are scattered in different parts of this auditorium, and there are still several dozen skeletons advancing on the stage. The crowd is screaming and trying to flee. Now, I'd like to try a new mechanic here. I've never used it, but there is a thing in this game that is intended for this very moment, because we spent most of the session last week in combat, and I want to make sure that we have time for you all to get better acquainted. There is something called, I'm just going to double check that I know what it is. I think it's called like wrap up a fight. Yeah, gloss over a fight. I'm going to give you a little here, okay? When victory is clear and everyone agrees to skip the details of a fight, describe your role in the conflict and roll plus a stat of your choosing. And then we'll get to decide what happens. So I'm just going to paint the scene a little bit better. And then I want each of you to tell me where you are and how you help resolve this. There is the stage. Stellar is currently on the stage. And on the flat chorus section, there is dozens of skeletons. In the center of the stage is a podium where Horus was abducted. Nearby, because of Snook, there is a hand that's been chopped off of somebody laying on the stage in a pool of weird-looking blood. There are stands all around you and a locked gate that people are screaming and trying to get out of. We're just going to go through the line here. I'd like you to tell me where you are and how you're going to help resolve this fight. Vico, we're going to start with you because you're in the starter slot on my screen.
Cool. So I have a fun ability called Divine Grace, where when I defend, in addition to the usual choices, I can spend a readiness to do another option, another one of two options. One of those is Blaze with Righteousness, making all demons and undead recoil from your presence.
All right, how do you want to drop that bomb?
I want to make my way over to Stellar and use Divine Grace to make skeletons flee. Okay.
How do you call upon that power? This seems like a big old ability, so how would... usually we're talking like holy symbols, or we're talking about your divine weapon.
Vico's gonna grab onto his holy symbol and just start making his way towards Stellar, and from him is this blossoming fire that gives way towards looking at the night sky. Instead of looking at an actual orange and yellow flame, there's just the purple and the starlight of the night sky around him as he's approaching Stellar.
I think that is swirling around you, and when you get to Stellar, you raise your holy symbol, breaking the chain off of your neck and thrusting it into the sky, and all of that combined energy cuts through the ranks of these skeletons, almost like you're parting the sea, and it starts burning outwards. It does not deal damage, but it does leech onto them like napalm, and they are now starting to turn and flee, wordlessly, soundlessly screaming as their jaws are clacking. They're throwing their weapons and peeling off one line at a time, starting to turn away. Without their leader here and anyone to rally them, the magic that has bound them to the same purpose seems to be being torn apart, especially by abilities like this. Next up is going to be Snook.
I would like to use my move silently, hide in shadows, to sneak over to the locked gate and try to pick it so I can open it so a lot of these innocent bystanders can get out.
Okay. You're going to roll plus dex. The most direct route is going to be through the channel that Vico just cut through these skeletons. You're going to be leaping off stage and following in the wake of this blast of purple flame.
And advantage.
You do, because you're moving silently.
13.
Okay, yeah, you just are able to dive off, and as smoke and flame is curling, you are running inches behind this wall of radiance, straight through, and you blast through at the last second and slide to a stop right in front of the gate. You are able to paw your way to it. You're going to need to roll to unlock it. Tricks of the trade for you. That's also a plus dex.
Plus dex? Okay. And that's not advantage, right?
No.
That's an 8.
It's going to take some time, and the bodies are pushing against you, but you are starting to find purchase with a partial success. It is not open yet by the time we go to Dilfern.
Well, I've noticed that there's some injured people out here, so I want to use my cure wounds. I want to help not only me, because I got some wounds, but also Vico. He got burned or iced or whatever happened to him.
There was a lot of magic being thrown around. You got iced, right, Vico?
Yep.
Yeah, like blizzarded. Okay. We can say that as this is glossing over the fight, Dill starts to peel away from the skeletons as they're fleeing and starts popping through to people who are injured and laying by the wayside. Dill, roll me a spell. That's going to be plus wisdom for you.
Plus wisdom. Okay, so that's 11.
Oh, that is a full success. So you are able to battlefield medic style army crawl to some people, lay your hands on them, summon the strength, and cast your spell, and then get up and kind of weave through some enemies and people who are fighting. And you make your way. Roll your healing. Let me just make sure I know exactly how this works because I know it's a little different. Oh, by the time you get to Vico, the purple blast has now tidal waved into the skeletons and passed off of Vico. You are able to heal Vico for 5 HP. And heal any problematic wounds, which I don't think you had. Maybe a little frost.
Nope, I'm back to full.
Okay. Which brings us to Waz. Wazlov the Wizard.
Oh, hi. Part of me is wondering if I already have one charmed person, my Scully buddy.
Person's a stretch for that word.
Okay. But he is my buddy right now.
Yeah, and most recently swinging his glaive into his friends.
Now, can I charm another person at the same time? One of the fleeing skeletons? I'm just trying to make my own army, honestly. To protect me while I make these badass spells.
Because of the nature of the mechanic that we're using, we're going to have you cast a spell using plus intelligence. And depending, I think what we're going to do is kind of abstract, and instead of making you one by one, we are going to get a read on how many of these skeletons you can choose. Try not to fail, because I have something in mind if you do, but
oh god,
let's see.
All right, so that's what's that? 2d6 plus
2d6 plus int.
My intelligence. 2d6. That's a 12.
Okay. You're able to turn, we'll say, 8 of these guys total. So 1 plus 7 new ones. And it's almost like this ripple effect as they are fleeing, and that magical bond, which has given them all a singular purpose, is breaking away. You are able to cast into that and reach out and find those weak places and exploit them and change their intention. And one by one, you get this like you're like 10 deep in the club. Just like all your bodyguards are walking through as you're grabbing new skeletons, and they're starting to chop down their brethren. However, I am going to do something.
Guys, it's all right. I found us a royal guard. We can take a break. It's all good.
Give me a straight up wisdom check. Oh, sorry. I think that there's actually rules for this. Yeah, this is a move called Gird Your Mind. Oh, it's a fucking wisdom check. I'm so good at this game. I'm so good at playing Dungeons and Dragons, guys.
So I have,
wisdom check.
I have 10, and plus 1 wisdom is 11.
Okay. So, with a full success, and you have the option to do this in advance as well, you can decide. Let me just make sure I got this right.
Mm-hmm.
You can either resist this effect straight out or give into it. You will suffer the consequences, but you will gain 1 experience. So narratively speaking, I will explain what is happening, and you can make the decision to resist or not.
Okay.
And I think that this moment would present itself to Waz in a way that you would have a second with your learned spellcaster's mind to analyze it and decide. And with an 11, that pocket of time presents itself. As these skeletons go and you get more and more of them, these weak spots that you're starting to target to turn them around and fight for you, it starts to break down the energy that is animating them. And so you see them, as they continue to fight, start to disassemble. Ribs fall, and then a shoulder, and then an arm. They're no longer holding weapons, but they're still marching forward and doing their best to enact your will. But as that energy that is animating them breaks down, it doesn't dissipate. It starts to lash out. And as enough of it accumulates from all of these 8 skeletons that you are animating, it coalesces and looks for a source and goes at you. Now, this is like in the magisphere, so this is not visible to anybody else. But as you are tapped into the power that is allowing you to use magic, you can see in that like double illusion way, in the magic realm, this shit is coming right for you. And it's a twisted spiral of purple and black and green. You saw this kind of smoke exploding out of a lot of the explosions and shit. And is now coming straight towards you and forms into a kind of spear. You have a split second to decide whether or not to allow it in or deflect it away.
Do I know if I deflect it away, would it dissipate or would it potentially hit someone else?
Roll discern realities. That's a plus wisdom.
That's a 9.
Feels like a last attempt, but you're not entirely sure what's going to happen where it lands.
All right, I'd absorb it then.
Okay. You take 1 experience point. You
gain 1 or lose 1?
You gain 1. For making this sacrifice, you are awarded a point.
Gotcha.
Because you're allowing a story moment to happen.
Gotcha.
This spear of green, purple, black smoke that is spinning at you. You rolled an 11 on that Gird Your Mind check, and you feel yourself prepared to deflect it. And for just a moment, you hesitate because what causes you pause is the safety of those around you. And in that second, it collides with your forehead and breaks apart. And you are taken for just a moment with the knowledge that if you were to go looking for a way to rein this power in, because it's almost flooding through you, and you would need to bottle it up in this moment. You are certain that you would not only have control of all of the skeletons here, but you would also be able to animate all of the audience that fell during this fight and all of the guards, and you can feel their life force trying to escape, and you know you could take it and consume all of it. And then it just goes through you and you feel empty and you take a knee. And the spell slot that contains Charm Person is just hollowed out. You will need to re-prepare your spells because Charm Person just got burned out of your brain. But the thing you can see in that in-between place disperses. With that, all of the skeletons do start to fall. Most of them are like lit on purple fire. And Snook is able to unlock the gate and open it so that the audience can flee back out into the town and down into the market. Dill, you are just wrapping up with your last patient. And as the audience pours out, it starts to get quiet. And soon it is just you, the Royal Guard, going around and crushing the skulls of any remaining skeletons. And Stellar standing up by the podium where her father was moments ago. What do you do?
What exactly was our contract?
You were just gonna be basically her secret service, you know.
For this event? That's it?
It was kind of open-ended. You were all selected to start this journey as she trains to be a summoner and go on it with her.
Oh, so this was longer than just a day.
Yeah, this was like the beginning of potentially a career.
Okay.
Bako looks at Stellar. Are you uninjured?
She looks down at herself, kind of takes a moment, and you can see her staff glow, and she says, I'm fine.
Well, that's an intro to summonhood.
Yeah.
Good one. Good one.
I think we should return to the palace.
Did you see where your dad went?
I don't know what happened. He was taken in that spell and then gone. I've never seen magic like that wielded in anything less than a chaotic nature, and that was very surgical.
Waz, did you see where he went? Like, do we need to get him back?
I have no idea. And I was hoping to talk to any of the skeletons to find out if they knew anything, but I don't think that's the case.
Stellar, have you seen that faction that came through? Do you know anything about them?
I've heard of stuff like this. It's such a smaller scale. But what we saw here, the as they're asking each other if they know where the summoner went, you are able to, for a moment, piece together what you learned from that roll last session. And I wrote it down, so I would have to tell you. What you saw was a bastardized version of a dimension door. So the spell that enveloped Horus was like a cobbled together pocket of teleportation. But what you gathered as it started to disappear, and that part of your brain and soul that is connected to magic caught a scent of, because it was such a dirty form of that spell, you would guess even maybe invented. Like somebody is trying to create a spell that could do something that they don't know how to do. You felt distinctly this thing hopping from relay points that were not very far away. And because you were able to keep a hold of just a thread as they were escaping, you are nearly sure that that teleportation did not leave the walls of the city. It could not have gotten far enough to get outside the city. Where in the city they ended up, you are not sure, and where they went from there, you are not sure. But you know that they had to bounce around to anchor relay points, and then they ended up somewhere nearby.
They're not skilled enough for a long-term, long-range teleportation, but what they did, they wouldn't have left the city. And they took them somewhere else within the walls.
That's good news.
Is it?
I hope so. We should continue this conversation inside. And she moves towards that back door on the stage that looks like a wall, and her royal guards that are not at your level, your lackeys, for lack of a better word, kind of file in around you all. Will you accompany her?
Yeah.
The doors are unlocked and you all move into that tunnel that starts to go back towards the palace, and it has offshoots as you go. She's moving at not like a jog, but she has intent to return to the safety of the palace, and is headed back towards the throne room, which is where this tunnel exits. And when you guys get there, she directs the guards, the lower level guards, to go take up positions around the entrances to the room. She sends them out to go get information from what's happening in the city, and you see her very quickly assume the role of somebody in charge and directing some of these relief and reconnaissance efforts. She then goes and sits in one of the 3 thrones that is off to the side and beckons all of you to come and join her.
Is this the room that has the spell book and some of the other items? Okay.
Yeah.
And they're still untouched.
Oh shit! Snook stole something from this room, right?
I'm gonna go stand in front of that case. Block it.
Okay. It's like a huge ruby or something like that?
It's just a ruby that was in a crown.
Oh my god, okay.
Just.
There's bubblegum. No one's gonna notice, especially now.
No.
You're gonna smell it.
No.
Stellar is sitting there and says, "Thoughts?"
Well, we could infiltrate this faction. I kind of know how to maybe get an invite.
Tell me more.
Apparently, there's a certain cemetery that we can go to at a certain time. That's all I know.
Where did you come across this information?
I hear lots of things in my line of work. It's hard to come across any information about these. I'm a traveling circus sort of person.
Let's get a charisma roll for that. Despite some of its truth, I'm not calling it straight deception.
Not. Oh no. 8.
Okay, she can see that there's truth to what you're saying and decides maybe now's not the time to pry, but you definitely see a look of suspicion across her face.
Look, it's the empty tomb?
Empty grave.
Empty grave. Empty tomb, empty grave. It's hard to get information. I mean, it's just, I've heard rumblings and people don't want to talk about it. They'd rather die than spill these secrets. Yeah, it's been really wild. So I've been, asking around about these people for a couple of months. And the most that I could get was, from someone that was very drunk in a tavern, was a certain cemetery at a certain time. They basically just said, if I were you, I would show up here. And that was it. So, and I haven't done it yet.
Why?
Because I picked up this job. I've been prepping.
Okay. I can run this kingdom in my father's stead. And while inside these palace walls, with what remains of the guard, I do feel a certain level of security. What I need from all of you is to go and get the summoner back. I need you to rescue my father.
Does he have like a tracker on him? Is there like something in his pocket that could lead us to him?
I don't think so. If there is, I wouldn't know, but if any of you have a way to locate him with divination, maybe. His staff is an extremely powerful magical item and very resonant. there's a chance you could locate it somehow if you knew a way to do that. I unfortunately do not.
Waz, got any ideas? What about my staff?
Your staff?
I have a staff and he has a staff. Like, could they talk to each other?
You have, I know that Waz can do it. Let me see what you can do.
Can
You were able to cast rituals, Waz.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking we could put our sticks together in like a water stick when you're out in the desert looking for water.
I think that if you guys wanted to attempt this, you would be able to get advantage because Dill is lending you another staff, but you would need to perform a ritual, and it would take. You would just need to start thinking now how you would want to do that. It would probably require a little bit of prep, so maybe not like in this moment, but it could very well be our next scene. She says, that sounds promising. I think I'm going to be very busy keeping things in order. Can I trust all of you to see this through?
Yes.
Absolutely.
On my honor.
Stellar, you got it. We got your back, girl.
Good. Rooms have been made up for you. They are near my chambers. And if you need to rest or recuperate or prepare, you are welcome to do so there. Otherwise, I'm going to start the long process of the fallout from what just happened, and I wish you the best of luck. Please keep me in the loop.
Fantastic. Do you have like a mail courier? If I needed to send something out, who would I see about that?
We have several messengers that are on staff.
Okay.
They would be available to you.
Okay, thank you.
Rico is going to very obviously go over to the case where he knew Cleo was at. From last session.
Okay. I believe she is currently standing in front of it, trying to block it from sight. Okay.
How tall is Cleo?
5'6".
Okay. Looking at Cleo, Ko says, "Are you here to admire the crown too?"
Pardon me?
Are you here to admire the crown as well?
Oh, I didn't even notice it. I'm just, it's got a nice draft right here. Kind of hot.
Well, we did just finish a battle, so I imagine blood is running hot. You know what I enjoy after a good fight? A good snack. Gum.
You eat gum?
I do.
Doesn't that get stuck in your digestive tract for like 10 years?
You'd know better than me.
No.
Oh, I don't eat gum. I just chew it for its delicious flavor and then I get rid of it as soon as it's done.
Can I get discern realities on the crown to see if I see any gum?
Sure.
Also, to be fair, I like slightly rotated it so the gum is facing towards the back.
Okay.
It's like one of those crowns that has like multiple like gems around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whew. Okay, gotta roll 7+ or 10+, wisdom +1, please don't me. That is a 7 exactly. I'm looking for gum.
Snook, give me a dex check to retroactively decide if you just did all of the placement that you just said you did.
5.
You can see that the crown is slightly off center. That is the first thing that catches your eye. The second is that curled over into the back part, which is where you can see there is a strand of gum. Like big red cinnamon flavor red gum
before we left this chamber to go fight, you were chewing gum.
I was. Are you sure? I kind of like chew on my tongue a little bit when I get nervous. I knew the fight was coming up.
I'm sure.
Because I don't have any gum on me. I don't know where I would have gotten any gum.
You're acting very nervous.
I'm acting nervous. You just met me. How would you know what my nerves look like?
Because only nervous people talk so fast.
Or maybe you talk slow.
I talk at a good pace.
Vico, where are you from? I haven't heard that name before.
You wouldn't. It's not from here.
Oh.
In fact, I want to ask a favor.
Shoot.
You're going to go to that graveyard, yes?
I'm planning on it.
Should you meet any member of the empty grave, would you do me a courtesy?
Okay.
Could you tell them that an emissary of the Vikel Kingdom is here?
Vikel?
Vikel.
Lisa, Snook, roll plus intelligence.
Nine.
You've heard of the Vikel Kingdom. In recent years, because there was a catastrophe out east that had magical implications on the surrounding lands. And when it was investigated, what was discovered was the remains of a civilization that rivaled the current city you're in, that had been destroyed. There was very little left of it.
So the Vikel shouldn't be in existence?
There isn't much known about it. I think that some of the merchants would have a better idea because there was limited trade routes, but in order to get to the Vikel Kingdom, you have to cross a large expanse of desert. And at this point of history and the tech level that the city is at, crossing that desert by anything but magical means takes a long time and is incredibly dangerous because of the wildlife and just the natural conditions. So there would be some merchants who have heard of this kingdom and even bring gifts and strange wares back. But as far as full knowledge of it, it gained more acclaim post this catastrophe. There was such a large magical event that knocked out the city that it actually was visible in the sky. And that's what drew actual scouting parties to it. And so in the years since, what is it called, Vico? The Vikel?
Vikel.
The Vikel Kingdom is known as the Fallen Kingdom to the east. I don't think you've ever met anybody who's claimed to be from it.
Right. Yes, I can tell them you don't want to go with me?
I'm not one for subtlety.
Okay. I mean, are you from there? Are you the emissary?
Gladly. Yes.
Cool. I think maybe someday soon we can have a little chat or some ale. I would like to pick your brain.
You should replace the ruby before we do so, though.
Don't know what you're talking about. And then
Of course you
I'll I've got to get a message out if you'll all excuse me.
Yes, before we move to the next scene, I just want to point out that we did get a donation from Merc Worky. This one has a little text. I mean, summoners are basically elemental catnip. If you can convince one to help you, maybe they can sniff him out. This is for a trip hazard. I believe that's against me, an imposed disadvantage.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. So, with stuff like this Ruby situation, you guys are welcome to work it out narratively all the time or give yourselves over to dice, but you can also just leave the scene. Snook, if you choose not to replace the Ruby and slip out, you are able to flag a messenger down.
Okay.
Yes, hello, I'm a messenger.
Hello, and I grab my package of bubblegum.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell him I need to get this sent to my dear cousin. He's never had bubblegum. You guys have such good bubblegum here. Would really like to send this to him. Do you think you could send it to him?
Absolutely. We will need to know where to take it.
Oh, and then I write down, wait, do I have anything to write on?
He produces a bag, drops like a little velvet pouch, drops the gum in, ties it, and then hands you a small slip of parchment and a quill. That does not require ink. It's got some like very, very small precious gems embedded into it that kind of create a writing method. And when you scribble it on the paper, it actually burns the message into the parchment.
Okay, and I just write Mr. Z.
Okay.
And then an address.
An address. Where is that address? Just, you don't need to know it, but like what part of the city would you be sending this to?
Oh, I'm sending it outside of the city into a small town on the outskirts.
Oh, all right. This might take several days, but we'll be happy to take that for you.
Thank you so much. And make sure that it hopefully arrives intact.
Yes, I don't imagine it's too fragile.
I don't want the gum to lose any of its, buoyancy.
Right. I think that I should go.
Thank you. Do I go to tip him and?
Oh no. It's part of the infrastructure of the palace. We just have messengers that can work for you.
What was your name?
My name was Hamberline.
Hamberline?
Hamberline.
Hamberline.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Do people call you Ham?
They do, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll remember you. I like you. You got a very honest face.
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, well, this was a really enjoyable chat, but I am actually going to leave now.
Okay, I'll bow. I don't know what to do. I don't know what protocol is.
He'll be caught off guard by that, and then also bow to you, and then back away and turn and leave. And you are left standing in the antechamber to the throne room. The other three of you are still in the throne room. What would you like to do?
I want to talk to Waz about putting our staffs together, finding the summoner.
Yeah, we were about to talk about rituals, weren't we?
Stellar does let you know that there is a magical workshop down in the what would be a dungeon. There is no dungeon in this palace currently. It's been retrofitted to be this magical workshop that her and her father use to further their studies. And she gives you permission to use it if you'd like.
Would there be more books down there like the one in this throne room?
The one in this throne room is extra special, but there would, like, that is an heirloom. There would be working text. And she says, please don't remove any of our personal items from the workshop because they are, some of them are dangerous. Some of them are just keepsakes. But any texts that you find down there, any ingredients will be restocked if you need them to be. There's a little bit of everything. And then she flags down a servant. who takes both of you down into this workshop. There's a large spiral staircase. You have to leave the throne room, go through the antechamber. So you pass by this scene and hear the person Snook is talking to say, "Yeah, I think I should leave now." And then you are brought out, taken through some of the labyrinth of the palace, and then down this spiral staircase. When you get down there, you see a room that is full of brass contraptions, vials, burners, several floor-to-ceiling shelves of books. Some of them look old. They are leather-bound with cracked spines. But then there's like another couple boxes stuck on these that are just full of scrolls that you can see are scribbled. And then there's like notebooks and scraps of paper, and there's several benches, like workbenches set out, and several ritual circles that have been drawn. And it's like a little paradise for you magic users down here. Shelves of ingredients, like all kinds of shit.
Whoa. Hello?
There's someone says, yes. No, hold on, that's too close to the messenger.
I am fine with this. I am very fine with this. It's his twin brother. It's his twin brother.
Please let it be his twin brother.
Campbelline.
Yes, I'm back here.
Howdy.
And out walks someone who looks a fucking dead ringer for Hambeline, and says, yes, my name is Chamberlain, part of a long line of the Lean family, who's been working for the palace over the last couple decades. Just thought you might be curious what my backstory was. I am the assistant down here. How may I help you?
I'm Dale. This is Waz. We need help.
Oh, well, I hope that I might provide that for you.
We need to put our staffs together. So do you have a book on staffs?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have several books on the construction of them, and then others on the maintenance and upkeep, and then some of the arcane arts which rely on staves for anchor points. What might I get for you?
Waz?
I think all of them.
Okay.
And then do we put the top end together or the bottom end?
I'm not a magician, and what you're asking feels like a trap. So I'll just let you think about that while I go grab some books.
Certainly.
Chamberlain goes back and flutters around the shelves, pulling out a couple of the older books first, and brings and drops them in front of you on one of the tables, and then comes back a second time with 3 scrolls, and says, these are actually the most recent workings that the Summoner family's been doing. They built Stellar's staff quite recently, and Summoner Horse's staff has been in the family for a very long time.
You seem to know a lot about staffs.
Personally, I know how to polish them and keep them up, but I am the laboratory assistant, so I've been here when a lot of this work was done.
When Horace was taken, was his staff also taken?
Yeah.
It was, okay.
The spell that enveloped him was a complete wall of magic around him, including his staff. And if you remember, Stellar used hers to try and dispel that magic, and failed. How might I assist you in this ritual?
In the text here, it says you'll need help from. So either that or it will require the sacrifice of.
Sacrifice. He's going to sacrifice himself. Do it.
Well, I was going to just say like a finger or something, but sure, we'll take the whole, take all of Chamberlain.
So.
Can we sacrifice Chamberlain? I mean.
Oh, I would prefer that you
help us
don't.
with this.
I will help, yes, but I would prefer not to be sacrificed.
I mean, your brother could carry on.
Oh.
For you.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
It's okay. It's just a little death.
Wow. Okay. You know, I'm actually going to, here's all the books you need regarding staves. I'm actually going to go, but I do appreciate your enthusiasm. If you need anything, I will be nearby and will consider returning.
You know, Chamberlain, I was just joking. It's just a little joke.
Walking away, and then you hear
Bye.
up the spiral staircase. So, without Chamberlain's help, you will have to do this ritual. It says when you wish, so for those of you following along at home, this is called ritual on the wizard's character sheet. When you wish to weave magic, say what you're after and how you plan to do it. I will then allow you to do so and choose 1 to 4 effects that you will need to perform the magical ritual. So first of all, tell me what exactly it is you are hoping to accomplish.
We want to find Horace's location.
Okay.
Or at least a, maybe a location that he was at, or like if we can kind of trace something from where his stuff was.
Okay. Do you want to track him or the staff?
I think that, I don't know, do we understand it? I think we can only track the staff, but...
Stella brought it up just because it is a powerful and resonant object. But he is also a summoner and therefore a powerful magic user. I'm just only trying to nail down the specifics because it might change like what I decide you need.
Do you want to go for the staff? It could be an upgrade for either of us. If he's not attached to it.
Okay, staff.
Then we're going to look for the staff, yeah.
Okay, so you must draw on a place of power. This laboratory will suffice. You will need help from the books, so you will be able to do that. It is going to take a couple hours, so this will probably occupy the rest of your day. At the end of this day, we will then decide whether or not you choose to rest or push forward. And you are going to risk danger. So what I'd like to do is fade out from this scene as the two of you start to hash out exactly how best you think you will need to accomplish this ritual. What takes so long is there's nothing in these books that lines out what you need to do this thing. But there is a lot of texts about how staffs work, the research that's been done on them, and the kinds of magic they can help anchor, contain, produce, etc. And so as you are starting to toss ideas back and forth, you're starting to dig through these tomes, pull ingredients off the shelf. You change your mind a couple times, go to a different book, change out ingredients. And Dill and Waz are now fast motioning through this laboratory preparing this ritual. I'm going to check this to make sure we didn't miss a donation. Okay, which brings us to the Co. Is there something you would like to do in the moment immediately following the throne room?
The Co is going to find his designated room and start writing letters to other survivors.
Okay. So you would leave the throne room, and an attendant would immediately be available and escort you to your room. They take you to the top of one of the towers of the palace. They inform you that the penthouse above is actually where Stellar stays, but below there is a suite of rooms with a common room in the middle in this circular layout, and you are basically, they gesture for you to enter, and they do not presume that they should as well. When you get inside, you can see that the common room is very Hogwartsy, with like some big old puffy chairs, some bookshelves, a big old fireplace, and then there are 4 little gilded staircases that go up to essentially like lofts that are enclosed with walls for each of you. And you can see recently they have attached placards with each of your names on each of these rooms. There is a room waiting for you. Inside is a 4-poster bed, a desk, a wardrobe, a chest.
Okay. Are there tables in the common room?
There are.
Vico's going to take some writing supplies to the common room.
Okay.
And alone in this area, he's going to take off his helmet finally.
All right. What does Vico look like underneath the helmet?
He looks like someone who's wearing a hood with a wrapped up face.
What do you mean? Like a mummy wrapped up face?
Like full cloth bandages covering his face.
Whoa. Okay. What do the eyes look like underneath?
Red.
Like glowing red or just the color red?
Just the color red.
Okay. Pretty cool visual. Hair?
Wrapped up too.
Okay. You have a space to yourself. Unless Snook decides to return, the other 2 will be wrapped up in the laboratory for the remainder, but you are able to sit down. You have writing supplies. Basically any kind of things you need that do not require an exorbitant amount of money or magic are available to you. The palace is flush, so there are writing supplies set aside for you. And you sit down. Who would you like to fight to?
I'm going to write to other surviving soldiers.
From
Vical.
Okay. Is there any of these correspondences you would like to share with the group?
Sure, a couple.
All right.
He begins writing, Marcel, I hope the seaside suits you. It was a hard walk, but I'm sure that you made it there just fine. You talked often about renting out a cabin for fishing, and I hope that its walls are sturdy. I know you would have insisted on building it yourself, but I hope you at least got help. To Georgette. I know you wanted to climb mountains, but that seems a little insurmountable right now, at least where we departed. I hope that you are well. I hope you at least found a few animals wherever you are to take care of. As I recall, you kept birds, even though they weren't allowed in the barracks. And I hope that the birds you find wherever you are bring you company as well. To Donovan. I hope you got fat. I hope you're eating well. I hope you're eating everything that you talked about as we went through marketplaces. I hope you're eating lots of butter and you put some of the nightmares behind you.
Okay. I think that's like a fucking beautiful scene for Vico to be sitting at this place after everything that just happened and writing these very personal, intimate little messages. When you finish, you will be able to easily hand them off to messengers who can get them where you need to go. Snook, what are you doing during this?
I think I'm moseying the grounds. I'm gonna see if I can get a visual on the royal tomb.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Roll perceive realities. That's a plus wisdom.
Okay. Oh, I do have plus wisdom. Oh, 5.
Yes, 5 total?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. You wander for a while. The palace is in disarray.
Okay.
They are doing what they can to fortify entrances and exits out of it. They've actually enlisted several of the adepts from the Magic Academy to come and start placing wards and like divination warnings to them. They are starting to do what they can. You see some of this and you notice very quickly, just based on what they are doing and how they are doing it, that Dill, Waz, and Vico, and especially Stellar, are operating at a level of magic that these adepts, like these top tier students from the academy, are not even touching. They are being very scientific and very careful and having to recheck everything that they're doing. They're having to hand draw a lot of the wards. When you saw your friends casting spells, Waz might have been referencing his spell book, but magic was just being flung from their fingertips. A lot of what they're doing appears to be ritual-based and very difficult to achieve.
So it's harder magic what they're doing, or
they're just not as good at it. Like your friends, you can now easily compare, because you're not magical at all. You can now see that the shit that your friends are doing, which seemed like second nature to them, is actually like
high level
shit. Because these specialists that are here, they're having the hardest time doing some basic stuff. It's taking them hours. And you see this as you're walking all throughout the palace. You see a lot of like masons heading towards the auditorium. They are the amphitheater. They're trying to close up that hole in the wall. There's just like so much activity. What you don't find is a tomb. In fact, you don't find a mausoleum. You don't find any kind of temple for the dead. You don't even find a morgue. There is nothing on the palace grounds that fits what you're looking for. At least searching on your own.
Okay. Darn it. I'm gonna approach somebody.
Okay.
That looks like they work for the palace.
Sure. There's a couple guards. There looks like there is a couple attendants, which are like secretaries for everyone. There's just like no phones in this place, so there are people who just facilitate the day-to-day, and sometimes that requires just being in charge of an area and knowing it well, and then being able to either direct you to somebody who knows a different area better or help you themselves. So there are attendants nearby.
I think I'll go the attendant route. Seems a little like they'd be a little more open to conversation.
Sure. You approach a young woman who is wearing fine clothes in the royal colors, red and gold, and she is wearing what you now notice to be a small pin that designates like station here. And she says,
okay,
hi, how may I help you?
Yeah, I'm just new here. I'm working for the summoner to protect the daughter.
She
Stellar.
gestures to your little badge.
Right. And I'm trying to get a better idea of the grounds and everywhere in this castle layout so that I know and can make sure that there's not going to be any threats coming that I can be unaware of. And I've done a really good scope of the place, but I don't see two things here. I don't see a chapel, and I don't see a mausoleum or tomb.
Yes. Summoner Horse and Stellar do not practice formal religion. And in an effort to welcome in acceptance, have removed the chapel space, and instead they have turned it into it sounds weird, what is kind of a training area in which they get in touch with magic and practice some of the more complicated spells that they know. As far as tombs, there are no tombs here within the palace grounds. Those are actually located in a special plot in the Black Dune Cemetery.
Does that happen to be on just outside of town?
Yes. It is said in the lore of our people, at least here inside the palace, that the summoners who pass are buried outside so that they may watch the walls of our city.
Oh, it's very poetic.
And hopefully practical.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your information.
You're welcome.
Awkwardly. Wait, do I bow?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm confused. I didn't get the etiquette orientation, and every palace is different. Am I supposed to bow at the end of a conversation?
I hope not. I haven't.
Oh no, I did.
Have you been going around the palace bowing to people?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was strange for them, yes.
Yeah, this poor kid, Hambo, he just made it real awkward. I guess it's my fault.
That's okay. Then she bows to you. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Welcome to the palace.
Okay. And then I'd like to go back and find my friends or my comrades.
Bye.
Bye.
You return to you are also shown by a different attendant up to your rooms. And when you get there, Vico is just putting the writing supplies away and sitting at one of the tables.
I would like to talk to Vico.
Have at it.
Hey, Vico.
Cleo.
What you doing?
Putting away writing materials.
Are you a poet?
A poor one.
Aw. Well, so I have an idea. And you seem like a very practical person, so I'm going to run it by you. You tell me if I should go through with this idea or not. So when I was telling everybody about the cemetery on the outskirts of town where you could potentially get in touch with the empty grave, it's actually to join their little guild. So would it be totally cuckoo for me to try to get in there and join their guild to get in on the inside?
No, the issue would be if they keep an eye on you after they know that you're interested in joining. Because if you go to join and make yourself known to them, there are good odds that they'll keep an eye on you to make sure that you aren't working for someone who works against them, which you very much are.
So I'd have to go deep undercover.
Or find a way to not be found when you're no longer within their halls.
I do have a good disguise.
Do you have a good exit strategy?
I can be like a shadow. I'm pretty good at getting out of sticky situations.
And not being seen returning to the palace.
Right. But I feel like this shouldn't be a one-person mission. I feel like this should be
Probably
a group
not.
mission. Do you think the others?
Possibly.
Huh?
Possibly. But can anyone but you lie as well as you?
I don't know. Let's go test it out.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna look for Waz and Dill.
It takes a little bit of poking around, but then somebody does let you know that they are down in the laboratory beneath the palace. Waz and Dill, when they get down there, what have you set up? It's kind of sky's the limit as far as what you need for this ritual because you are in the royal magical laboratory. What would you do to set up this ritual?
Well, I think that I have gone and grabbed just a ton of herbs and all of the like plants, and I've put them kind of like in this open area around us, and I've put a whole bunch on a table. And I'm just kind of working with stuff like intuitively with my staff, going over and like rubbing herbs and all this stuff on Waz's staff. Yeah. And it's irritating the hell out of him because he's like, don't touch my staff.
Yes.
So that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
And then obviously like looking in these books to see what we can kind of pull together. But I think that for me, like I'm just using like more my intuition and how things are feeling instead of really reading what's in the text.
I kind of feel like setup wise, you would have these piles of different herbs that you're sorting, and whatever makes the cut, you start arranging in this circle around the two of you, and whatever doesn't, you're just kind of tossing over. So there's just like these huge piles of unsorted herbs that you just like filled, and then around you, you are starting to build what feels like an amplification ring around you. Like you can feel yourself kind of, as magic is passing into these, as you close up the circle, it starts to almost like reverberate back and channel in this extra little bit of power. And so as you're saying some words that you've learned over the years and you're setting these out very delicately.
And crystals too. Like there's
crystals. Yeah, there would be plenty.
Yeah.
And I found and I'm chewing on a pickle because I found some pickles back in Chamberlain's, whatever his name is, room.
Right. Okay. Chamberlain's room.
I snuck back there. He yelled at me.
Pickles.
Okay. And what are you adding to this setting, Waz?
I'm thinking we're inside the circle, just along filling in the middle would be maybe an over the shot from above of the city. Like, you know, like a rough sketch, something that we took like a big piece of canvas and like roughly drew. Sure. And I'm almost envisioning like, you know, kind of like the Staff of Ra, Rages of the Lost Ark kind of thing, where we're going to all these different piles with all, you know, stopping in front of the different crystals, all trying to figure out if one of these, like just hitting it right, is going to reveal this potential location.
Okay. When you do this ritual, I'm going to have you roll, and there will be a moment in which the ritual fires off. But I think that you are kind of using your staff and through this trial and error, like you're seeing what resonates and what doesn't, and you're redrawing some stuff, adding arcane symbols, moving the canvas, reorienting it as Dill is kind of circling you with these herbs and making this thing. Like, you are both
like, yeah.
So you hear visitors, and Chamberlain does not enter, but Cleo and Vico do. Vico, were you going with, right?
I wasn't asked to go, so Vico was just in the common room.
Okay, so Snook, Cleo Snook comes back down and pops in, and the first thing you're hit with is this overwhelming aroma of like all kinds of different aromatic herbs that are clashing with each other and occasionally smell good and then really weird and really strong and then bad and then good again. And you see the scene that we've just described of Dill circling them and creating a ritual circle with Waz in the middle, using a staff and paper and some chalk and creating this thing.
Hey, hi. How's it going in here?
Good, good, good.
Oh, but steady, yeah.
Good. Where have you been? What you been doing?
Well, I just like scouted the grounds just to make sure there was no, like, I wanted a good feeling of, the area in case we get, invaded or anything else happens again. But, I have a proposed mission, but Vico brought up a good point, and I need to test something.
What's that?
And then I proceed to sing a really terrible song off key. I'm not going to do it, but that's happening.
Okay.
And
What
then
is
I
the song
finish.
about?
The song is about, it's like the Fire Planet national anthem.
Okay, will you just give us some of the imagery that's in that song?
Oh, it talks about the great sand dunes and the fire, and the don't get too close or your skin will melt off, and the mythic serpent snakes that are underneath the ground and you can't go too close, and the epic battle that happened that created the Fire Planet, and that there's this old race of people called the Tyne, and all of that stuff.
Okay. So she does that and sings that off key.
Horribly. And then I just look at you both and I go, how was it?
I've always loved that song. I've always loved it. You did a very nice rendition.
Oh, thank you. Waz?
I've never heard it sung like that before. Thank you.
It's almost like you added stuff.
I mean, I might have embellished it a little bit.
So, what you gonna use that for?
And I just think, you know what? That was good enough. So I have this plan that I would like to go and secretly undercover join the empty grave so that we can get information about what they did and this dimension. But we just need to be really undercover. And Vico brought up a really good point that we can't let them know our lives outside of what we're doing with them. So it's going to require a lot of sneak and some good lying.
Well, now I don't know you very well, but are you a sneaky person? Like, is this something that you feel like you could be a win-win with?
I mean, I think I could do this. I just don't know if I could do this on my own. We might get into some situations where we need some magic, and I don't have any magic.
How can we help? Have we already?
Well, so I have a contact, and I have a graveyard outside of town. And we would just need to show up tomorrow night at 10:27 p.m.
Dark robes, animal sacrifices, anything?
I have heard about blood sacrifices. I don't exactly know what that entails.
Chamberlain!
Yes!
He already said no.
Darn it.
Oh,
If you could come in disguise, that would be greatly helpful.
You want to borrow my shirt?
Do I want to borrow? No, you come too.
Oh, you want me to come? Really?
Yes.
Oh, cool. I'll go.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, what are we going to do?
We'd have to be in disguise so that they don't know who we are outside of this.
Like dress up like boys?
That's one option. Absolutely.
Dress up like what?
Waz, can we borrow your clothes?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
They might be a little like.
Wait, does Waz have to come too?
Yes.
Okay, you can borrow my clothes and I'll borrow yours.
Oh, yes.
I'm gonna need enlarging spells.
Your spell book, dude. As this plan is starting to come together, as you do move your staff to a final position on the map you are drawing and feel as though, and Dill, you actually feel this too, there's this moment of synergy as you are placing an herb and closing the circle around you, and Waz and you feel like a shimmer in the air, and you do get the sense that you have just crafted a complete place from where you will be able to cast this ritual.
Damn, that felt good. We did it. Did you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Cleo, you felt fucking nothing. There is no magic running through your veins.
All this stuff that you've been stepping on, Cleo, a little bit
As
here
you
and there.
look down, you are standing in a pile of herbs.
Ooh.
We're trying to find through our magic exactly where Horace's staff is.
Did you locate it?
If you step out of the way, we might be able
Oh,
to.
shit. Sorry.
Yeah, here, I'll help. Yeah.
Crunch, 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 crunch. Out of the way.
Cleo steps out. You will need to roll plus intelligence. So I will let you, either of you, choose. One of you is going to be the primary caster of this ritual, even though we are technically using Waz's spell. The two of you have now created this together. If Dill is rolling, she will be rolling plus wisdom. If Waz is rolling, you will be rolling plus intelligence. The flavor of information presented to you will be tailored towards which of those stats you use. The way that it's going to work is because you're getting advantage. Whoever is the primary caster is going to roll 2d6, and whoever is the secondary is going to roll 1d6. And whatever the lowest dice is will get thrown out.
What do you think, Waz? You want to roll?
I don't know. I think the herbs had a hell of a lot more to do with it than what I did. I mean, I just kind of walked around a lot and kept tapping my staff, and then finally we both felt something. So
Okay, I'll roll.
So you're going to roll 2d6, Dill, and you're going to roll 1d6, Waz.
So I rolled a 7. Oh, plus my wisdom.
What are tell me the two different dices individually. We're doing it weird this time. I'm just kind of Calvin balling this thing.
4 and 3.
Okay. And what did you roll there, Waz?
And I'm adding my intelligence.
No, you're just giving me your dice roll.
6.
You rolled a 6?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to get rid of the 3. 6 plus 4 is going to be 10. And what's your intelligence modifier there? Or sorry, your wisdom modifier, Dill.
2.
2. Okay. So that's a 12. That's a full success. Give me just a second. I am factoring in how this spell is going to pop off.
I knew putting in that extra rosemary would help.
It was. And then I rubbed some on you. I'm rubbing some on
Behind my ears.
You're rubbing some rosemary into Waz's ears, and you're about to tell him something when you feel this connection between the two of you get amplified, as though a breeze is coming from every point of the circle. So it starts to feel like you're in a wind tunnel. and all of the herbs start to, Cleo, you do see this happening. You are not feeling it like they are, but there is like a static charge to the air. The herbs in the circle start to tremble, and then they all, not in unison, but very close to, start to raise up and stand on their stems and tremble as though a breeze is rushing through them. Cleo, you see their hair swirling and their robes swirling as this wind is picking up, but you do not feel the wind yourself. All of the herbs start to smoke, and then they catch fire. None of you feel heat, but that overwhelming smell of rosemary that you are crushing between your fingers and Waz's ears fills the laboratory. Underneath your feet, between you, I think that you probably have 2 paperweights, one on each corner, and then 1 foot on the opposite corners. The parchment begins to smoke in 5 locations and then burn. You've made this map using a kind of divination through your spell and this ritual, and so it is accurate, though it doesn't look to scale. The first place you notice is the palace. And then down the path, the market. Past that, the factories, and then the sewer, and then a place outside the paper on the ground itself catches fire. And that fire leaps to the parchment and starts to burn it, leaving only a zigzagging pattern that chars at the edges, connecting each of these smoking points, so that you have a strip of parchment that connects the palace, the market, the factories, the sewers, and then with another flare of that fire outside the parchment, this little snake of parchment goes to. And for just a moment, it reverses, and from the palace creates a line of parchment that leads to that place outside the walls. And then it's gone. All of the herbs fall back down. A thick smoke accumulates around them, but you can tell the ritual is dead.
Saw that.
And that's where we're going to take our break.
Yay.
Welcome back, everybody. We pick up in the magical laboratory beneath the palace, where the ritual has just been completed. What would you like to do?
Share our news?
You are able to find your way with Snook's guidance back to your suite of rooms, where Vico is.
I was going to wizard explain actually to Snook, but
As we walk back.
so what you just saw was, we'd like to think if they both disappeared together, they might have gone to a couple different places in order to escape. They couldn't just go from one big place to another big place. They had to go to all these little places in the middle.
The staffs or the summoner?
The summoner.
Oh, did it show you the route that they went?
That's what I'm saying. They might have gone, because you can't just go from one spot to a very far away spot. See,
Even
with
if it's another
magic,
dimension?
they could have entered one dimension and then came back into our dimension and then gone back into another dimension and then came back into our dimension.
Oh, like blinked in and out?
Yeah.
Did it show you where it landed? Like, where is it at?
Looks like it's outside of the city.
Looks like we got lots of business outside the city.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe near that place that you need to go to.
Okay. Maybe we can update Vico.
Yes.
And I've stolen a whole bunch of herbs and just kind of shoving them in my pouch as we're walking back.
Okay.
I grabbed which gems would look good on my robes.
Okay. It seems like all of those supplies were in little cubbies of help yourself baskets. And Stellar did say that they would all be replenished if you needed them to be. As you're walking back and explaining this magic, Waz, by the time you reach the common room of your suite of rooms, you have this feeling that the exact location of the summoner's staff is on the tip of your tongue. And Dill and Cleo, you hear a word muttered from Waz. And it just sounds like Waz, without knowing it, says the word blood.
Excuse me?
Did you just say blood?
I think I did.
You okay, buddy?
It was, I was trying to think about where that place was, and that's all that came to mind.
Blood.
Blood on the outskirts of town?
Waz, roll an intelligence check.
2d6.
2d6.
Intelligence plus 2. That's an 8.
Okay. Yeah, you're pretty certain that if you were to focus enough on where you left off with that ritual, with just a little bit of blood, you would be able to cast a much more powerful spell that would lead you probably to the exact location of the summoner's staff.
If I went to that place and did another.
No, you if you were able to find a little quiet and focus on where you left off in that arcana, and you just used a little bit of blood, you would probably be able to cast a much more powerful spell to complete the ritual in a more satisfying way.
I'm kind of weakened right now, aren't I? Have any of us rested, or that's not?
Nobody's rested yet. No, it's still the same day. Okay. And now that you're thinking about it, you're like, where did that idea come from?
I feel like I want to turn back around and head down to the chamber where we were and try it again.
Vico, they all walk into the room, and then Waz says blood. They ask him about it, and then he turns around and walks right back out of the room. What are the rest of you doing?
Bako loudly goes, "What?"
I'm halfway out, and I just go, "What?"
Waz says blood and is just walking away.
Waz, where are you going? I just like skitter after him.
Okay.
Like, Waz, stop.
I think I can find out exactly where the staff is.
What?
Oh. Do we think the summoner is attached to the staff?
You asking me or you asking Waz?
Waz.
We've just been focused on finding the staff. We haven't been focused on, but
Why are you going for the staff and not the summoner?
because it's rare for a wizard to lose their staff, to become unattached to it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he's most likely with the staff.
We can hope.
Waz, why did you say blood?
I think I have to give some for us to all receive some.
What?
Dill, roll a wisdom check.
Why do we want blood?
Actually, this would be an intelligence check. I'm sorry.
So 2d6?
2d6 plus your intelligence.
Okay. So my intelligence is -1.
Okay. What did you roll?
9, so 8.
So an 8. The only stuff that they ever taught you at the academy that dealt with blood as an ingredient or a catalyst for magic was in the do not do this category.
What? Chloe, could you please come with us? We gotta talk some sense into this dude. He can't use blood. It's like the necromancy stuff. He's not supposed to use it. Get over here.
Vico, they would be close enough that you would be hearing this as well, especially if she's shouting back towards Cleo.
Who's Chloe?
Sorry.
Cleo.
Dang it. I'm so sorry. I'm real terrible with names. Would you
Boy.
come over here?
What do you need?
It's the blood. He can't use the blood. We gotta stop him.
What blood?
Not good. He wants to use blood and magic together. It's bad. It's really, really bad.
Whose blood?
Mine. We have to give something in order to get something.
Give something to what? The staff?
Like a
Your staff?
To the magic.
ritual.
Are we
To
even
the
still in the ritual room? We're not.
At
That's
this
why I'm
point,
leaving.
Waz is like most of the way down the hallway towards the staircase, which will lead you to it.
Okay.
This particular
wanted to-
tower where Stellar lives has several direct routes to throne room, laboratory, and like.
Oh, okay.
And so you are able to very quickly, a lot more quickly than you were able to find it when you were wandering around the grounds. You can see Waz heading to the staircase that will lead all the way down into the basement and the lab.
I very speedily catch up to Waz, and I'm like, have you ever done blood magic before?
No. Have you?
I would hope not. So maybe we should hold off and do a little preparation.
Waz, you are getting you are feeling emboldened now. When you were taking over those skeletons, you had that moment where you felt like if you were to just give in, you would be able to tap directly into that energy that was animating them. And all you would need to do would be to pull that from the corpses of the audience that had fallen. And you're certain now, like, yeah, it's so simple. In order to fuel this kind of magic, you would only need to use life. Vico, what are you doing? They've all now run. They are now starting to go down the staircase. Are you following?
Vico was looking out the window, sighing to himself.
Okay. Vico stays in the common room.
Vico's gonna follow, but slowly.
Okay, and then starts to follow you to the stairway. The rest of you exit the stairway now as you're having this conversation and are back into the laboratory. The ritual is pretty much set up, though the herbs do look like they are singed. And the parchment that was there is gone. It was burned up as part of the ritual.
We know where the staff is, right? You saw where it is?
It wasn't as detailed as it could be with what I try to do now.
Oh. I mean, I don't know a lot about magic, but it sounds like a good idea.
How sharp is your dagger?
Very sharp.
I need you to cut my hand.
Raz, no. This is bad. This is so bad. They told me no. Listen, I was in the woods with a squirrel once, and there was blood on the ground, and I had herbs, and I'm not even gonna tell you what happened to the squirrel, Raz. It wasn't good. And then I go up to you, and I'm shaking your shoulders, and I'm like, and then I just stop, and I'm like, use my blood.
Use your blood?
And I take out my dagger and I start like cutting, like putting the blade like on my hand.
But what if we need your help healing?
It's okay.
At a point. I could eeny, meeny, miny, moe you.
Or
let's use her blood.
My blood?
Give me your hand.
But I'm not magic. It won't work.
We just need like 2 drops blood.
what if all of us give 2 drops onto the staff?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that might be a good idea.
Okay. But I use my own dagger.
The moment you cut, the herbs start to smoke again. This smoke is much darker and has the undertones of like green and purple. And it's just like this heavy smoke that's pooling around the herbs like dry ice smoke. Vico, what are you doing?
I've just come downstairs. I've just come into the lab, watched them all just go into their palms, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Just looking at it in not even shock at this point.
You can see very clearly. Actually, Vico, give me a perceive realities.
Sure thing. What check is that again? That is wisdom.
It's gonna be plus wisdom, yeah.
All right, let's risk it for the biscuit. Let's go. +1. Let's go. That is gonna be a 9.
Okay. You see a mark on the floor inside this circle that they're standing in that has a dark burn as though somebody had put a cigarette out there. And from it is a very thin strand of energy that is that same color you all keep experiencing of this green, purple, black. And it is snaking across the ground and wrapped around Waz's ankle.
Do I recognize this kind of magic?
That will require an intelligence check.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. That is a lovely 8.
What you get from this is that it is not a kind of magic you have ever used before.
Mm-hmm.
What are the 3 of you doing? you have all just pierced your hand and dripped blood into this circle.
Can we all-
Whereas,
Can we all turn to Vico at the same time and say, "Your turn"?
yes.
And then we're kind of like holding out our dagger to his hand.
Cleo and Dill, please roll me a. Give me just a sec. I'm checking the rules here. It's on my other page. It's right here. Wisdom. Please give me a wisdom save at disadvantage. So roll 3d6 and get rid of the highest.
Oh no. 6.
Okay.
I have hit my XP, FYI.
You will be able to level up and choose one of they're called advances
Okay.
on your sheet, and that takes effect immediately. And Dill?
Okay, so I have 2 3s and a 4, and then I add my what? My wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So 6, and I get rid of my highest.
Yeah.
8. So I'm an 8.
Okay. The 3 of you turn to face Vico, and Waz and Cleo both say, "You're next," and Dill, you start to, and then realize you're not sure why you just said that. And you're starting to feel that pain in your hand where you've sliced it. And all of a sudden, you remembered all of those things you were telling Waz not to do as you're looking at this blood dripping down into this circle.
Oh no.
Waz, what kind of spell would you like to cast?
It was going to be the one to find
A
exactly
recast of the
where-
ritual? Roll this
Yeah.
with advantage. It's going to be an intelligence check.
Okay. That is a 10.
Okay. Vico, what you see is the circle around them erupt in this green, purple, black fire. All of the herbs ash immediately, and a swirl of smoke starts to spin. Waz, you are standing in a dark place. On the ground in front of you, about the size of a dime, is a little circle of light. It is the only source of illumination in this space. You are alone. It is cold. What would you like to do?
Most of my abilities, my starting moves are all gone. So I can't conjure a light.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
I can't.
Look at you rested.
And your spell slot got tapped when you fucked around with that necromancer.
Yeah. Charm person and contact spirits are also gone. All
Okay.
I have is my magic missile, which that would give some light, right?
You've cast it before. You tell me.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it did get. Oh yeah, it was more blue. Could I just fire it into the air for wherever all eternity and see if it gives me some kind of ambient light around to help?
Roll to cast a spell.
All right, that is. That's a 6.
Okay. Cleo, Dill, Vico, please defy danger using dexterity.
No. Oh my god. Oh, a 6.
Is this to resist or act despite fear?
This is a reflex check, for lack of a better word.
Oh wait, I have advantage.
Oh, okay.
Hold up.
I got an 8.
Okay.
I got a 9.
Okay. Dill?
Wait. Is that 2d6?
2d6 plus dexterity.
I got a 4.
Okay.
Nice.
You will be taking full damage, Vico, and
For that?
Leo, you will be taking half. So what you feel, Waz, when you thump, you have your staff, right?
Yes, and it would have 2 drops of my blood, 2 drops of Cleo's blood, and 2 drops of Dill's blood.
Your staff pulls all of that moisture from the blood on its hilt into the staff, and you slam it into the ground. All of you see him do this, though for you, as you were just in the darkness. 3 magic missiles erupt out of the head of your staff. They are triple the size that they normally are, and they shed light on the area that you are in. It is what appears to be the bottom of a cistern, and that hole that you saw in the ground that was shedding light is in the apex of that dip, and you are standing in the bottom of what is a deep cistern, and above you, those magic missiles curl and spiral, streaking hundreds of feet into the air until they slow and start to fall back towards you, and they gain speed very, 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 very rapidly. However, they do not hit you. They slam into the ground and spin around this cistern like they're going down a drain until they go right down into that hole. Because they're larger than that dime-sized hole, they actually start to erupt, and then all of that sparkle particle goes down. The rest of you, what is normally your damage dice for the magic missile? 2d4. We're going to say it would be 3d4. However, you're going to up the dice size by 2 because they are triple the size. So you will be rolling a 3d8.
3d8.
Roll them, if you wouldn't mind, one at a time.
Okay, so
Oh my
1d8.
god.
Sorry, guys. I
Are
hope
you,
we're still
though?
friends?
Ow.
All right. 3.
What's your intelligence modifier?
2.
Dill, you get one of these magic missiles that erupts out of his staff, smashes into you full force, blowing you out of the ritual circle, and you take 5 force damage. The next roll.
7.
Plus, you said your intelligence modifier was 2?
Yeah, so it's still, but it's 7. It was a 5 and
Oh, okay, so 7 total. So,
Yeah.
Vico, you see something similar happen, except it smashes into Cleo's chest and flings her out of the ritual circle, dealing 7 damage as well. And the third?
3 total.
Oh, sorry. Cleo, you got a partial success. You will be taking half damage, and we're going to round up. So you take 4 damage.
Okay,
and you
so
said you
don't
rolled...
die then. That's good.
Mhm. Whoa. And what was that final roll?
3.
And that's with your modifier attached?
Yeah.
Vico, a bolt passes through the ritual circle, stripping it down to a much smaller size until it just spears you. You are only forced to take a step back, and you take 2 force damage. The rest of you can now see no damage. Because your armor?
Yep.
Okay. The rest of you see Waz holding his staff as though desperately. It is shaking, and it seems to be stuck into the ground of the laboratory. And when those magic missiles exploded, there was a massive bubble of arcane energy off the top of the staff. You can see the blood is draining from your hands and floating through the air, being pulled into the staff. You will have a moment to decide what you do. Waz, please roll another intelligence check.
With that would be a 13.
Okay. You could see as the blood that is pouring off of your hand, and it's like 0G. It's like floating towards the staff that is going. And you can tell that that staff is about to unleash another one of those blasts of magic missile. What do you do? We're going to start with Vico.
I'm gonna rush and try and grab that staff.
Okay.
Why is everyone trying to touch my staff?
What you see, Waz, is from that hole in the cistern, you hear a grating and crunching noise, and the stone floor around it breaks just enough for a skeletal arm to reach through and grab your staff. Vico, please roll a strength check.
Go. That is gonna be a 10.
Okay, you are able to rip the staff out of Waz's hands. Waz, you see that skeletal arm grab it and start to pull it down into the hole that it just made. Cleo, what do you do?
I'm gonna try to chop off the hand again.
You do not see the skeletal hand.
Oh.
Only Waz
I
can
thought
see
she meant
that.
my hand.
You are welcome to chop off Waz's hand. What you've seen is Vico run up and grab the staff from Waz. Waz is still rooted to the spot in the ritual circle. And as a matter of fact, black, green, purple smoke is starting to curl up around Waz's feet.
And Vico has the staff?
Vico has the staff.
Oh. And Waz, is he in a trance?
Why don't you perceive realities?
Okay.
That's plus wisdom.
What I added to my wisdom. Doesn't matter. That's a 5.
You don't know much about magic.
No, a 5. Yeah, it's a 5.
Yeah, you don't really have any information to act on here. You don't know much about magic. He looks pretty freaky right now.
I'm gonna shake the shit out of him.
Okay, you're going to roll an attack. That's going to be plus strength for you because you're not using one of your little finesse weapons.
Okay. 6, 7.
Okay. Waz, from the ground where that hole was, your staff is being forced down and other arms are starting to pull out. They have multiple joints as though several different forearms have been connected at several different elbows, and these snake-like things are reaching out and they grab you around the shoulders and shake you. What do you do?
I can't make myself invisible. I can only make other people invisible.
Let me read the spell.
He's perceiving us to be skeletons?
It seems like I'm in.
You can. It says touch someone. In the same way that to me, like D&D spells say, affect one creature. That creature can be yourself. I think that you could make yourself invisible.
I'm just wondering if that's going to help because they already have their hands on me. And I don't see any eyes, so. I would take my dagger and start kind of swinging at the arms.
Okay, roll for damage. Cleo, you rolled a partial success.
Fudge!
So he's just dealing damage. You are managed to grab him, but you are going to be affected by your enemy's attack.
But listen, all right, so in the world where I see these skeletal hands, I'm using my dagger.
Okay.
In the real world, could I just be using like a feather duster or something?
No, stab me. Stab me.
Okay.
I think you don't know the difference, and I also don't think you have a feather
That's
duster.
fair. I don't, but I pull something out of my wizard sleeves.
Roll damage on your dagger.
That is.
God
2d4.
damn it.
Is it 2d4? I think.
I have 4 points left and then I'm
I
done.
think so.
Is that
My
dagger only?
knife. My knife, yeah.
No, dagger's just 1d4. I believe whenever you are dealing melee damage, your damage dice is always a d4.
Gotcha.
So if Cleo was using her dagger, she's rolling a different thing because it kind of pairs with her class better.
Gotcha. This is it. It's a 4.
That's my total hit points.
Cleo, Waz is being shaken by you without even looking at you. He's looking through you, reaches into his sleeve and slashes across your entire forearm, opening several veins with his dagger. You see that and feel yourself fall backwards. Everyone else sees the blood pouring out of her forearm start to lift and spiral up out of the cut as she has entered the ritual circle again. And it is now starting to swirl around Waz and start to collect at his feet and then start to burn a circle into the ground where there is already green, black, and purple smoke peeling off around his feet. Dill, what do you do? Cleo is falling to the ground. Blood is pulling out of her arm. And there is a crazy shit going on.
So can I do multiple things at the same time?
Step through once at a time and we'll see how far you can get.
Okay. So I think I've been kind of like building up a new little like outer ring of like herbs and crystals, and I've just been like working like mad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to like leap on top of Waz's shoulders and like jump on top of him and like try to get like to get to him, like to connect to him, and then at the same time like cast a spell to heal all the wounds.
For something like this, you will need to make the decision in this moment whether you want to address the Waz situation or save Cleo. In order to pull her back, especially from the brink like this, it's going to take all your focus.
Okay, I gotta help Cleo first. I gotta help her and then try to get to him.
Okay. If you're going to be healing, roll to cast a spell, 2d6 plus wisdom.
Plus wisdom. 11.
Oh, yeah. Cleo, you are healed 5 points. Dill, you rush to her side, catch her as she is falling, and slap a hand over that wound. And as you just flood her with magic, you all watch, except for Waz, who is in a different place, the large gash on Cleo's forearm stitch itself back together very rapidly, cutting off of the supply of blood, which is now burning through the floor. At this point, the circle has created a complete shape underneath Waz's feet, and that stone has burnt away into a pitch black emptiness, and Waz is now starting to sink down into the floor. Smoke is peeling up off of him. Waz, you feel yourself as these skeletal hands are grabbing you. They are pulling you down into this hole that started off very small and forcing you into the stone, breaking off more and more places. Vico, what do you do?
So where's Cleo and Dill right now?
They're kind of like half in, half out of the ritual circle, just a few feet from Waz. Dill has caught Cleo and has healed her, and they are on the ground.
Gotcha. How finished does the spell look like to me?
Which spell? It seems like there's a couple going on right now. Which one in particular?
Just the overall thing going on right now. The absolute wild thing going on around my feet right now. How close is that done do I feel?
The hole that's formed underneath Waz seems to be completed and is now pulling his physical form down into it. The magic missile that was about to explode out of the staff, you dispelled when you removed the staff from his grasp. The ritual circle itself is kind of just surrounded in flickering green flames and burning. but while it does seem to be channeling magic, Dill's hand is still cut. Blood is still bubbling up off of that and into the hole that's being created. Same with Waz's hand, where they cut it with a dagger. Cleo's was healed when Dill grabbed her with the full effect.
I'm gonna try and just lift him out of the circle, out of the pit, out of all this nonsense.
Okay, that's going to be a strength check.
Oh, you bet it is. 11.
Okay, you grab Waz by the lapel. What do you do with the staff?
I toss it out of the circle.
You toss the staff and it clatters through the room. You grab Waz by the lapels and lift him straight out of the hole, and both of you collapse backwards out of the circle. There's a brief moment where the fire flickers, the hole in the ground starts to close, and then just a couple more drops of Dill and Waz's blood. And you see a white tentacle curl up out of the hole and start moving towards. I think Dill is out of the circle. Cleo fell backwards. Cleo's legs are still in the circle, and the tentacle is writhing across the ground towards Cleo.
Can I try and get Cleo's legs out of the circle?
I think because you fell backwards, we're going to ask Cleo, what do you do? You've fallen. Waz is kind of on top of you. And his eyes, Waz, you are no longer in the cistern. You are trying to see through thick smoke. Vico, you see his eyes start to clear up. They are no longer staring through you. Cleo, what do you do?
I'm pinned by Waz?
No, you are just brought back to life, essentially, by Dill. Your feet are dangling into the ritual circle. There's green flames licking up around them, giving off no heat, but you see a white tentacle crawling out of the hole in the center of it, moving towards your legs.
Well, I'm going to flip backwards to get out of it and do some fancy-ass acrobatics.
Dexterity. This is act under or defy danger with dexterity, which I think you get to roll with advantage.
I do. 8, 9, 11.
Okay. You all watch Cleo flip backwards. The tentacle lashes out to try and grab her before she goes, and donk hits off of an invisible barrier and slithers up and does a little mime work at the edge of the ritual circle. Now that all sources of blood have been removed from the ritual circle, you watch as the hole in the ground starts to close slowly at first and then more rapidly until it cuts the tentacle off and the tentacle flops onto the ground. All of the fire goes out. All of the smoke settles into the ground and turns to purple-green ash. And then there is silence.
I hate magic.
So what was that supposed to accomplish?
Waz.
Waz, roll an intelligence save.
What's that?
Just in 2d6 plus intelligence.
Copy. 8.
You are torn because you feel like you're scared of what just happened, but at the same time, like, they kind of interrupted you right before you finished.
Also, when the staff was kicked out of my hand, in the vision, what happened to it? In my vision?
The arms pulled it down into the hole ahead of where you were. Gotcha. And it was kind of a mess. Like, it was a small hole to begin with. Mm-hmm. The staff was being pulled down as other hands were being fought out. And then you were starting to be dragged down too.
Gotcha. Okay. I would probably look at them once my eyes cleared up and say, I was this close.
To what?
To finding out where Horace's staff was.
Did that
He almost
require you to
died.
Leo?
We almost died before in the
You sliced my whole
amphitheater.
entire forearm.
Why'd you get so close?
I was trying to shake the shit out of you. You were in some weird trance.
I was trying to shake you.
Whereas you don't recall slicing her forearm.
Oh, fair. I'll jump back. I'd have to probably play a bit more than there were hands on me. They were skeletal hands with forearms on forearms on forearms pulling me into this dark abyss. I had to fight to get away.
Yeah, that was us trying to help you. Does magic usually make you hallucinate like that?
It can sometimes. Sometimes you have to go somewhere to feel something and see something before you can come back to here.
Did you see anything?
I felt like I was in this bottom of this like cistern, and then I started getting pulled deeper and deeper down through this small little hole.
Does that mean that possibly that is like a reference to being underground?
Maybe.
Was there anything that you saw that was odd or noticeable?
There was only one little ray of light.
Above you?
No, it was down in front of me, but only kind of everywhere else around swallowed the light whole.
Well, do you think that maybe that cistern was upside down and the light was the sun?
And it was skeletal hands? Could that be a cemetery?
Possibly. Could have been a grave. I don't know.
I feel like everything's pointing for us to go to this cemetery outside of town. This, what was it? Black Dune? Black Dune? Yeah.
Black Dune Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is that this is something underground.
Well, we're not going to be any good in this shape. Maybe we should rest and start again tomorrow?
That sounds like the healthier option.
Yeah. Rather not die again.
You almost died?
Yeah, dude.
I saved her.
Thank you for that.
Leo,
I'm proud of you, Dill.
yeah, she's my pickle now. I saved her. I go over to Waz and I'm like rubbing the rosemary herbs and like rubbing, trying to get my healing, making sure that he's okay.
Sure. Roll I think this is just a wisdom check.
Okay.
The way that I see this is anytime that Waz is interacting with magic, it's going to be just an intelligence check, and anytime you do, it's just going to be a wisdom check. So as you're going and using the rosemary back on the earlobes and trying to get just a sense of the aura and maybe give a little bit of good energy, roll a wisdom check.
Okay.
2d6 plus wisdom.
6, 7.
Okay. I think that there's just this like feeling that you get that Waz, take 5 HP from a heal from Dill. And then you lose 1 HP, Waz, and then you lose 2. Stops there, but Dill, you feel yourself give him this healing energy, and you see him visibly start to look and feel better. And then you see this draining effect happening, as though something is pulling on this energy that you're giving him, his very life essence, and feeding off of it.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
I was already at 14 for my HP, and I didn't get hurt last time.
Okay.
So you said take 5, so go up.
No, I guess if you hadn't done any damage, there wouldn't be a need to actually cast the spell. But you would see, I guess you would just lose 2 HP in this moment. Gotcha. As Dill gives you a little bit of good juju, and then you start to feel better, and then immediately whatever that magic was starts to feed it, and then whatever it is hungry enough that it actually starts to pull your life energy. It stops at 2, but you definitely feel yourself, Dill, with that check I made you do, you feel that it's not just Waz here in front of you, that something is feeding off of him.
And is it feeding off of me as well?
It wasn't from you, no.
Now, do I feel what's happening to him as I'm kind of doing this check?
I think you do get a sense of that, yeah.
Okay.
It's more from just being a healer and being in tune with people and their health. You see him start to have a little bit more color in his face. The bags under his eyes start to recede. He stands up a little bit straighter, and after just a second or two, some of that color drains, some of those bags come back, and the posture dips a little bit. Not too bad, but a little bit there. You see this.
Can I cast a spell to help him?
What spell?
I want to try the rebuke anathema, whatever that is called.
Yeah, sure. Roll to cast a spell. I believe you're just doing another 2d6 plus wisdom.
Okay. 8, 9.
Okay, you're gonna need to choose one of the complications here.
Okay. So my divine power weakens.
That's your list there. You got one in mind?
If you have favor, lose it, draw unwanted attention for yourself. I think I'll lose a favor for this.
Okay. The way this works is you cast anathema, and at first, nothing really seems to happen. And then Waz's skin starts to smoke. And Waz, you start to feel hot. And then all of a sudden, this specter, you saw them for just a moment, Vico, when you cut that spell in half to stop it from immediately pulling the summoner back in the first fight you guys did. And those 3 green spirits started to circle you. It was like a brief moment as you basically like counterspelled something. You see a green specter peel off of Waz and leap at you, Dill. And that moment where you lose your favor is just a force coming to your aid from you. You feel a great weight leaving you. And there's a flash and the specter leaves. And Waz, you start to feel as though the time since you initially performed the ritual to track down the staff the first time, as though some of the memories from then to now are coming back to you. And they're conflicting with themselves. You clearly remembered slashing at skeletal hands gripping you in the dark. You also clearly remember Cleo grabbing you and you slashing her arm. You have no idea where the idea to use blood came from. That wasn't yours, and you can't even tell now why you embraced it. It seems like you made a lot of decisions in a row since opening yourself up to that ritual that have led you to this moment, and all of a sudden it comes rushing back. The specter leaps off of you, and in a flash of radiant light, disappears, and you are left looking at Dill.
Hey.
Sorry.
Buddy, it's okay. Just take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I got you.
I thought if we... I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, look on the bright side. That one guy, Chamberlain, dude, he's still alive.
Chambo.
For today.
Good point. Good point. I think you need a nap.
I think so.
They'll do the rest.
Would you all like to make camp, or in this case, return to your rooms? Okay. So you all walk upstairs. The weight of that experience weighing on you. Cleo and Dill, you both kind of got swept up in that. And once Dill cast that spell to banish that spirit that was clinging to Waz, you were able to piece together like the couple moments his fervor swayed you into cutting your own palms. He'd lost that entire time. You seem to have only lost a couple moments when the ritual began, whatever it was reached out and kind of took a hold of you too. And as you're all walking upstairs, it does seem like some bad magic just happened and kind of got away with some stuff around you. You are all going to be able to make camp. So you're not going to need to expend a use of your supplies because you are staying in your own rooms and everything will be provided for you. We're going to end the session tonight doing what's kind of the end of day ritual for each of you. And you're going to look at the part on your sheet called drive and look at which option you chose. And as we discuss some of what's about to happen as each of you return to your rooms, you will be able to decide whether or not you've accomplished your drive. But we're going to start with, I feel like the Co. This will encapsulate both sessions. So you are able to answer this question based on everything that happened last time during the ceremony and everything that happened this time today. Can you give an example? First of all, what was your drive?
My drive is courage.
And what's the flavor underneath?
Lead another to act despite fear or doubt.
Okay. Can you give an example of how you've met your drive's requirement?
Moved everybody very hurriedly towards the side of conflict and moved everybody into the conflict as soon as it arrived.
I think so. You were able to mark an XP for that.
So,
can you describe how your opinion of or relationship with another character has changed?
I would say my relationship towards Cleo has changed, where Cleo has, I would guess, a greater understanding of why the Co would be here in the first place.
Okay. Cleo, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
And why Bako might be so aggressive.
Okay. You are able to mark another XP. And would you point out something awesome that another character did that no one else has mentioned yet?
Let's see here. I hate that I'm the one saying it, but the fact that Cleo is still going around with a piece of crown jewelry just in her pocket.
Okay.
It's despicable, but you gotta love the hustle.
Okay. You get one more XP. That's 3 extras. Have you leveled up?
No.
Okay.
I have not failed a roll.
High strength. Okay, so what does Bako do as he lays down to sleep? Is there any ritual as part of this?
Bako removes the rest of his armor because he's not going to sleep in the entirety of his armor if he's a nice plush place. But is there like a dresser in his room?
Mm-hmm. There'd be a wardrobe and a dresser.
He puts that over there's like a staircase to a door to get into his particular place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He puts the dresser in front of that door.
Wow. Okay.
And as he goes to sleep, he's got all of his normal clothing, but the rest of his body is wrapped up as well.
Okay. Bako closes his red eyes and lays down to sleep. Cleo, what's your drive?
Lord. Excitement. Cause trouble for your allies by taking an unnecessary risk.
I think we know the answer to this, but can you give an example of how you met that requirement?
Well, I haven't caused any trouble yet. That's the problem.
I think stealing that fucking jewel was kind of trouble.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the trouble has yet to be seen, so...
Bako did confront you about it.
That's true. So that was an unnecessary risk, for sure.
Okay. You get a mark in XP.
Okay.
Has your relationship to another character changed?
I think, well...
Or your opinion of, I should say. Your opinion of your relationship with another character.
Yeah, Waz. I thought Waz was kind of like happy-go-lucky, not a risk taker, and then seeing him do this blood magic, which went horribly wrong, makes me think that he's maybe a little deviant.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, mark another XP. And then point out something awesome that one of your party members did that nobody's mentioned yet.
Oh my gosh, everybody's done so many great things. I really love how Dill took it so seriously to protect Stellar that she yelled at me to keep an eye on her while she went and dealt with some stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Her mama bear instincts came out.
Okay. Take your third XP. Before we talk about what Cleo does as her final ritual, what did you choose as your advancement?
Oh, I just took an improved stat and I improved wisdom to +2.
Okay, cool. What does Cleo do at the end of a day like today?
Cleo pulls a strand of hair, slides it into the door, and shuts it. And she doesn't have a lot of belongings, but she does take her shoes off and set her dagger under her pillow. And then as she's laying on her back, looking at the ceiling, she pulls out a very, very old coin and she just starts thumbing it through her finger, looking up at the ceiling.
Okay. Dill, what's your drive?
Evangelism.
And what is the flavor on that?
Instruct another in the tenets of your faith, or I guess our magic.
Okay. Do you have an example of how you might have achieved that?
Well, I think that it happened when Cleo came down and we were kind of instructing her on like what we were doing with the herbs and all of that magic. So I think that was the moment.
I would agree, especially because we had you roll as the primary caster for that ritual and use your wisdom modifier. So I would say that that would count, and you can get an XP point for that.
Okay.
Has your opinion of or relationship with another player in the party changed?
Yeah. I think that I think before my opinion of Waz was he was very scholarly and he was just very good and uppity, and I was more of the forest, but working with him and having this life or death situation, I just feel such a kindred bond to Waz, and I just want to take care of him now, and yeah, I feel like we have bonded as brother sister in Magic now.
Okay. I think that's worth an XP. And is there anything that Dill does when laying down?
Sorry.
Or before laying down?
Okay. Yes, I sneak out and I take a meditative walk through whatever little brush or little plants, if there's any plants on the property, and do a walking meditation. And
there are beautiful it would be a courtyard in the center of the palace, enclosed by the palace itself with an open air. There would be a beautiful garden full of natural spring fountains, and it's beautifully curated, so it feels wild, though there are obvious paths and it is maintained. And you are able to sneak down into the garden.
So I walk and meditate, and then as I go back to my room, I go to all the other rooms and I put little protective herbs in front of all of their doors. And then I go back and I have, little pickles that I'll nibble on with some water and my nightcap.
Okay.
And then I have my underclothes have little ferns and stuff, so I can kind of feel like I'm resting in the forest as I sleep.
Okay. Waz, what's your drive?
Curiosity.
And the flavor entailed?
Cause trouble by touching, opening, or tinkering with something.
Okay. I think we know the answer, but do you want to give an example of how you might have met that?
Well, I was going to say before with my boy Scully, but
that would count.
Yeah, but stuff that happened later in the day.
Okay. Yeah, I think you get an XP for embracing the dark magic. Can you describe here your opinion of or relationship with another character in the party has changed?
I am finding, despite my outlook on holistic healers and being almost like their own certain branch of, in terms of where Waz went and studied, they were more kind of fringe. They were very kind of outside, but seeing how welcoming and how open that Dill is, it feels very at first I was uneasy, but now I feel welcomed. I feel kind of looked after, and especially now with what's happened today, it's brought on a bit of guilt that I've failed, and it does make me want to find a way to redeem myself. So
I think that's definitely worth an XP. And can you point out something awesome that one of the party members did? I don't think I let Dill do this either. Point out something awesome that one of the party members did that nobody's mentioned yet.
Sorry. Who are you talking to?
I'll go Dill first. I skipped you. I want to give you an opportunity to get your third XP.
Oh, okay. Something awesome that I really do appreciate that Vico, like he just reached in and pulled out Waz from that using his strength. And he, if that, and didn't he also get his staff?
Yeah.
Didn't he both?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he saved the day. So that was amazing. His strength is unbelievable.
Take your third XP. What about you, Waz?
I enjoyed being seasoned like a Thanksgiving turkey with the rosemary behind my ears.
Okay.
It was a very new sensation and one I could potentially get used to. I might have like slightly purred a little bit, like if somebody like rubs the back of your head and you're like, that kind of thing. So, but I did that mostly to myself.
Okay. Take your third XP. Did either Dill or Waz level up?
I just leveled up.
What is your advance?
What does that mean?
You will be able to choose, and you don't need to decide in the moment. There's a column next to your starting moves called advances, and you get to choose something new. But Waz, as you start to get ready for your evening ritual, you are a bit distracted and end up kind of stumbling through it as you're thinking about this guilt that you feel and needing to redeem yourself. But there's this strange thought passing through your head. This one is yours. The spell Dill cast freed you from what you are. Give me just an intelligence check.
12.
Full success. I think you would realize, when it's an easy A to B to C. When you started trying to charm those skeletons, you were interacting with reanimated spirits, and they were being contained in those vessels and puppeting them with necromancy. And when you started to attack the web in between and break down their objective and wheedle your way in, you were flirting with and opening yourself up to a form of very insidious magic. And you felt that very clearly when that spear came and aimed right for you. The moment you removed its anchor, it immediately started looking for a source of life. You felt when it hit you that all you would need to do was pull the life force out of those dying around you in order to heighten your abilities and take full control of the battle, and you resisted. But when you, again, opened yourself to it accidentally, I told you that one of the costs of performing that ritual would be opening yourself up or your friends up to danger. When you went looking for that staff, whatever had it, in some way, had set up a trap for you. And though its location was revealed, again, you opened yourself to that magic. And the second time, you were unable to resist. A to B to C. Dill broke the thread that hooked onto you. They had to sacrifice giving away their position in order to hook you. Dill broke it. But despite all of this, despite the guilt you feel and the redemption you plan to seek, the thought that is yours running through your head is, you've never, ever felt, let alone conceived of the possibility that you could wield the power just a few drops of blood could give you. Blackout.
Knew it. Erupted.
Oh.
Lord.
What could possibly go wrong?
That was wild. Didn't see that happening.
You guys are fucking with necromancy. What do you expect?
I feel like such a noob. What I still feel like such a noob.
I think in this world, this kind of magic is not well known. It's not well versed, and you have no experience dealing with it. It's powerful, and it requires a battery. And you guys who have magic are batteries.
Mm. Oh my gosh.
I suppose.
Well, before I turn it over to Lisa, who's smarter than me, I just want to say thanks everybody for watching and going along this little journey with us tonight. We'll be back next Friday at the same bat time, same bat channel. And it's been a pleasure telling this story to you. Lisa, will you do our official farewell?
Yeah, of course. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this Friday night. And if you're catching it on the VOD, thank you so much for watching it. We have so much fun hanging out, playing some role-playing games for you. Hopefully next week I will be upright in my streaming room. Fingers crossed. To stream from my bed. But before we leave, we'll just give everybody a chance to let you know where you can find them if they want to be found on the socials, starting with Paladin.
Hi, my name is Paladin, better known as HTT Paladin. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as HTT Paladin.
Yay. And Jesse.
Skip me because I'm actually just figuring it out for real this time.
Okay. We'll go to Lisa.
Oh, hey. Okay, so just want to say thank you again to everyone who were here with us watching and to everybody here playing. This was a fun night. So if you want to find me, you can find me on Instagram for under Lisa Levan, and then on Twitter. My handle there is also Navel, which is my first name backwards, my last name backwards.
Yay. And Andy.
I don't want to be found after tonight's actions. I'm just going to put that out there. You can find me on twitch.tv/armoredandy. I do a lot of Red Dead roleplay streams, and same name on Twitter. So
Awesome. Jesse, you ready?
Yes, I'm on Twitter at Jesse_Keeter. And I just want to give a shout out to Mark Workey again for the trip hazard. If it was not for the trip hazard, your friend Waz would have immediately descended into that hole that formed underneath during the blood ritual. And you would have needed to possibly go in after, or just say like, fuck it, there goes the wizard. But yeah, thanks to Mark Workey and the trip hazard, you had an opportunity to, and as Paladin demonstrated, save Waz the wizard. So trip hazard for the win.
you guys had your chance to off me. Now you're going to regret it.
Hooray. And I'm, you can find me at Twitter at Lisa Coronado, also on Twitch. I'm off for the next couple weeks, finishing school, but I'll be back in December at Hey Smalls with a Z. I'd also like to thank Mark, our tech guru. Thank you so much for keeping this going in the studio. He's amazing. We adore him. Thank you, Mark, for the donation. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.